Good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of The Gavel, featuring attorney Ana Toledo. Ms. Toledo is the senior attorney and general counsel to Targeted Justice. She has a background in constitutional and environmental law and is an experienced litigator, including 2 cases at the U.S. Supreme Court. And here's Ms. Toledo.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 60 of The Gavel, a podcast dedicated to delivering the latest news and critical updates to the global community of victims of government weaponization, alongside the important developments of my mission here in Washington, D.C., working for freedom from modern-day slavery. I'm your host, Ana Toledo, and this is July 10th, 2026. And this constitutes a permanent historic record of our community's fight for freedom, for the end of government weaponization, for the end of lawfare. All of it exported from the freest country in the world to over 6 million peoples around the world. I'm an attorney with over 30 years experience litigating environmental and civil rights matter. As you know, I am in Washington, D.C., fighting tooth and nail to get this program exposed, because once it is no longer covert, it can no longer operate. So prior to going to my scripture verse today, I want you to please like and share and subscribe. We have Dr. Len Bear has been having these exchanges with Grok, and it is just outrageous how the social media platforms like Grok on X admit that they are doing shadow banning of our content and restricting what we can see and what we can interact with. So please, it costs you nothing, and I depend on you to be able to reach probably to the screen of somebody that can make a huge difference about this. So I'm going to start today with a verse from Matthew 21. And this is something I just so much believe in, and I just wanted to cover this space because, you know, this is our special place, our special space where we can get to talk about those things that you probably cannot talk about with many other people. So Jesus answered to his disciples and said unto them, Verily I say unto you, if ye had faith and doubt not, ye shall not only do this which is done to the fig tree, which was drying it up just with words, but also if ye shall say unto this mountain, Be thou removed, and be thou cast into the sea, it shall be done. And all things, whatsoever ye shall ask in prayer, believing ye shall receive. And I have to say, most of us that we are walking miracles, you know, that's one of my favorite phrases. And it has been because of this unflinching faith that most of you are here today. And this is no moment, no time to not have that strong faith that'll take us through the finish line. We have overcome odds that no one that you know in your family or friends would have likely overcome. And for that, I pat you in the back and say, keep on doing it, because we're very close to our goal. And to the naysayers and to the criminals watching, because I know they're always watching, they're obsessed with the thoughts, they're obsessed with everything we do. I say, you know, we were not supposed to have made it this far, but we did because of the grace of God, which is covering this space. So you have nowhere to hide and nowhere to go. You better start looking. I don't even think Argentina is going to take you, because as our Javier, our vice president in Argentina, has told us, The torture, the stalking, the hacking, it's outrageous over there. In Argentina and Latin America, 9 out of 10 victims of this horrific program have B2K, whereas in the United States, our numbers, our statistics say it's only around 70%, the most recent ones. And I have to urge you, if you have not signed up with Targeted Justice in the membership sheet, I urge you to do it because, as many of you know, and I'm going to talk that in a little while, we are asking the court, Targeted Justice is asking the court in the Middle District of Florida for civilian victims of Havana syndrome to be recognized as such, not just government employees. So it is important that you form part of, you don't have to pay anything, just be part of our membership so that, we have an accurate list to represent to the court, aside from the people that subscribe to the newsletter, which are deemed members of Targeted Justice. So for those of you that did not get to see this week's newsletter, I'm gonna play you the wonderful work that our dear Sean does for us.
Targeted Justice filed a federal lawsuit under the Administrative Procedure Act in the U.S. District Court for the Middle District of Florida against the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the National Institutes of Health, and Jay Bhattacharya, M.D., in his official capacity as Director of NIH and Acting Director of CDC. The complaint, filed on June 23, 2026, alleges that the agencies have unlawfully withheld and unreasonably delayed their mandatory public health duties by refusing to recognize, surveil, or issue diagnostic guidance and care protocols for civilians diagnosed with AHI/Havana syndrome on U.S. soil, despite having done so for federal employees and their families for years. Plaintiffs seek declaratory and injunctive relief, compelling the agencies to fulfill their statutory obligations under the APA. Attorney Ana Toledo, who is the counsel for the plaintiffs, has stated, "The agencies have a clear, non-discretionary duty under the APA and the Public Health Service Act to address emerging public health threats. They have developed comprehensive diagnostic tools and protocols for federal employees and military personnel, yet they have completely failed to extend those same protections to civilians. This two-tiered system leaves everyday Americans without recognition, reporting pathways, or standardized care while suffering the same neurological injuries. The court should compel the agencies to do what Congress and the law require."
The COVID-19 pandemic was one of the most consequential events of our lifetime. And to this day, the American people have never received a full accounting of where it came from, what our government knew, and why they had to fight their own government to find out. Today, the committee will hear from an intelligence community whistleblower about these questions. The witness will testify that the CIA scientific analyst repeatedly concluded that a laboratory leak was the most likely origin of COVID-19.
Former CIA agent James Erdman III recently shared about the CIA's fifth function. The fifth function refers to the famously open-ended clause in the National Security Act of 1947. The director of the Central Intelligence Agency shall, and I quote, perform such other functions and duties related to intelligence affecting the national security as the President or the Director of National Intelligence may direct. The crux of this is, If a president orders the CIA to perform a special mission, for example, if Obama ordered a small group of agents to covertly spy on Trump, or to cause instability in Indonesia's elections, then that operation keeps going. Even after Obama leaves, Obama has no control anymore. But the mission stays, and the next president isn't briefed.
Calling all digital warriors. Please share, repost, copy and paste this video on all social media platforms. Attorney Ana Toledo has headed to Washington, D.C. to represent all victims of government weaponization. She is not leaving until every single victim is free. Please help with her financials while she's living there by donating to the following link. We are still looking for volunteers. Let us know how you can help and the skill sets that you have by emailing us at tjustice2@proton.me. Put volunteer in the subject line. We have over 500 videos of targeted justice content by going to the following link. Buy some cool gifts, shirts, hoodies, cups, keychains, and more by heading to the following links. Please consider donating. Targeted Justice is non-profit, and the donations are tax-deductible. Thank you again for watching this video. God bless. God bless. God bless.
And God bless our dear Sean. Every day I am so impressed. So impressed every day, every week. He gets so much better. And it's like, I have to repeat myself. Sean has made lemonade out of lemons. He is becoming so good while he is fighting the criminals. So hi everybody. Hi Craig. Hi Lisa. Hi Steven. And so, you know, I'm not very good doing the fundraising, but I have to say, for example, let me show you here. This is our lawsuit. And I don't even want to tell you how much it costs to make all the copies, because these has the reports and everything. The cost of litigation and the cost of me being here, even if I'm here working 7 days a week to shut down the criminals, it's a lot. And I am just very grateful because, as you know, I wanted to stay here until April. I was naive. I thought that by April we'd be done. But then Trump had a change of mind and scale back on ending weaponization, but he seems to be back on track. So I'm not, as I said, I'm not leaving here until everybody is free, number one. And then at that time, I am aware of the fact that we will have to start coordinating, creating, asking Congress for the funding to create clinics for implants removals, for, I would say, PTSD, because many in our community will be affected emotionally. They will have to overcome a lot. And so I don't foresee that I'll be leaving soon. And I am just it's totally grateful for you to be here, because I am your only voice here in DC. Nobody else is doing this. Only me, and I am very honored to be doing that. So now let's go for this week's. This week, it seems that with the World Cup and the 4th of July, there hasn't been. It seems that there not much has been going on, but I believe that a lot has been going on in terms of the fight for freedom, and you'll see what I'm talking about. First of all. And the MK Ultra hearings unleashed tons of debate, argument, mentions, coverage in social media, in the news media, basically in the public arena. Many picked up the story, and I think that the best part that most of them have been amplifying is the fact that, for example, Kinzer said, you have to make sure as part of your investigation that this ended, because I'm not quite sure that after they had developed all the technology that they did, they would have just simply abandoned it. And as I told you last week, I not only talked to him, I got his card, and I gave him some of our flyers, and I said, please check out our website, because MK Ultra never ended. And so he very, gracefully agreed to it. So, but we cannot let Congress sweep this under the rug. And right now, this week, Nancy Mace said, let me show you, just give me a second. You know, I am my own producer, a writer, everything. So I have to find it here. Oh, here it is. So Nancy Mace, look at what she said. She said that MK Ultra ended. No, we're not going to even let anybody remotely say that. So for those of you in her district, I need for you to write to her through her website. And I'm going to see how I get some of the emails that I have and put them in my Meta. So the rest of you write to her and let her know the truth very respectfully. We cannot let anyone even remotely utter this, that MK Ultra ended. No, as she's saying. So now I'm going to put in the chat the email to Ana Paulina Luna. And this is the moment where you cannot stop writing to these people. Today, Targeted Justice newsletter wrote a sample of what you can write to her. And from my experience, I'm going to tell you, do not write an email, a 2-page email, single-spaced, because they're not going to read it. Just stick to 3 paragraphs, offer to be a witness, and say it never ended, and just say the most horrific thing you can, but without just being off the deep end, if that makes any sense. You need to write to her. I put the email there. Look at the Targeted Justice sample today. We cannot let this remotely go away. It can't go away. It's not going to go away until they acknowledge that MK Ultra never ended. Another thing you can do is send them the flyer. We have this flyer in our website. Send it to your representative. If you can go meet with your representative in your district, it's going to be only a few miles from your house at most. Take one of these and say, I am requesting that you take an important part on this. This is affecting me and others in this district. Okay, so please look at that sample and let's see what's going to happen. I can't tell you the things that I have been doing in the background because you know the criminals, how they are. Even though they read my emails and stuff, it's better not to publicize what I've been doing. So please, we are counting on you. If 3,000 of you write to Congress, this will be the full-fledged. We need at the end, and I got the 3,000 number from the attorney from America First, who he got 3,000 people to write to Congress, and that is how they removed that provision in the big beautiful bill that they wanted to give like absolute immunity and no scrutiny from states to AI. And he got into it and he got 3,000 people to write to their representatives. And that's exactly what you need to do. Remember, it's about FISA and it's about the investigation that MK Ultra never ended. Send them that flyer. Now, another great news. This week has been really great for the anti-flock movement. And the reason why this is so important for us is because normies are now getting a taste of what it is to have their Fourth Amendment brutally violated 24/7. And so this movement is now the truth is getting out. First of all, the flock cameras are not being used only to read license plates. They're being used to spy. Like if you have your phone, your Bluetooth on, it'll connect to it and it'll listen to your conversation. And then the good thing is that people around the nation, normies, these are normies. These are not necessarily TIs. They are eliminating them. One person trying to counteract that posted that, oh, it doesn't matter. It only makes flock richer because for everyone that is, and I am not advocating for the destruction of property. I am very clear on that. I do not advocate for violence or destruction of property. I am just reporting what is being said on social media. That they said, well, for any camera destroyed, we get paid to replace it. So saying, don't destroy them. So here is what is very important, that police, first of all, innocent people are getting arrested. And second of all, the police have been caught using the flock cameras for their own personal stalking. Like one police guy was stalking an ex-girlfriend using the flock cameras, was fired. Now, I want you to listen to this guy, because this is the kind of activism that we want for people to engage in.
Oak Park, Illinois is one of the only cities so far in America that has actually published error reports on its flock program. Their oversight board concluded in 2025 that there was no evidence whatsoever flock cameras played a meaningful role in any Oak Park crimes investigations. Their reports show that in a typical period, a third or more of the traffic stops triggered by a flock alert ended with the driver being released because the data was wrong. Oak Park has since terminated its contract.
In this context, you know that we are subject to silent hits. And I'm going to show you another video now. And I am absolutely certain that the flock cameras are integrated with the terrorist screening databases 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 to do those silent hits. So it's just a tool that police use to do more harassment, and you know how it goes. And that's why you need to have your targeted justice flyers in your car. If you have those flyers, I'm telling you, they're not going to stop you, because the criminals, the tippy top criminals, don't want the police who is stopping you at their behest to know that they are lying to them. So you can get those flyers, on targetedjustice.com, activism flyers. You have there the police flyer. Well, listen to what Ana Kasparian said regarding the contracts with DHS.
Per the ACLU, Flock tends to also lie to the public about what their technology is capable of doing and what type of government agencies are using their database. For instance, in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, Flock had told a city council that they do not create trafficking maps of cars, which was a lie. The city canceled their Flock contract after their lie was discovered. Flock also told Colorado police that the feds do not have access to their database. No feds. That was a lie. Flock has contracts with Homeland Security.
There you have it. It's only to facilitate the silent hits, the stalking and the harassment, and having in real time your location to send the minions and the Citizen Corp to harass you and follow you around. So it is amazing. It is awesome that normies have gone into the bandwagon to fight the violation to the Fourth Amendment that the proliferation of these flock cameras represents for our nation. That, remember one thing, the Constitution of the United States does not exist anywhere in the world. We have unique protections. We have free speech protections that are not being respected in Texas, as we've seen recently. We have unique First Amendment protections. We have unique Fourth Amendment protections that don't exist anywhere else. And these flock people, they're just, wait till you hear this one, the next one, it's gonna really make you very angry. So they are adding high quality microphones to listen to conversations. And in places like South Korea, they're already being used for energy lockdown enforcement because they're having energy problems. Now you can find them in the middle of nowhere, in state parks, in hunting places. They're all over. deep in the Florida wildlife management areas. So you have to wonder, why are you having surveillance cameras in the woods? The CEO of Flock basically admitted their business model is to help politicians save money by keeping people out of prison, by keeping close surveillance on them. And let me just play this for you, because this is gonna make your blood boil.
People together is like by default flawed. And so I question like what could
Sorry, let me put it from the beginning. That was my bad. There you go.
Prison can't be the answer. Like it just doesn't work. And the whole concept of prison will never work. Like, and there are some incredibly well-run prisons with really well-intentioned wardens doing the best of their ability, but the concept of putting a bunch of violent people together is like by default flawed. And so I question like what could Flock be doing to say, I'm going to prevent kids from becoming criminals. And if you do wind up on that path, how do I get you back on track as fast as possible? And we're a for-profit business.
Let me translate what the Flock CEO just said. Politicians get to save money by keeping more criminals out of jail. And they also get to keep an eye on everyone 24/7 for a fraction of the cost.
There you have it. It's just even the way it's even the way he speaks is so mortifying, the Flock CEO. Anyways, so it's not about safety. It's about massive surveillance. It's about pre-crime. It's about telling you how to behave. Is this sounding every day more like China? And so normies are really upset. And I think this is great for us because it's going to force change at a statutory level. Now, I want to share with you a couple of pages that you should jot down. First, you should see how these cameras in just 2 years alone, I want you to see how they have outrageously grown. It's a plague. It's a total plague happening in America. Now, if you want to speak, this is what I recommend that you do. There's 2 alternatives. One, go speak at your next city council meeting. And for that, there is a group that is called an organization. I'm going to put the link here, deflock.org. And they give you the tools. Let me share with you their page. They give you the tool. This is STIs. This is very important for us because these Flock cameras are being weaponized for the targeted community. So this is important that you get in with a normies effort and do this. Here it is. It's called deflock.org, and you can go to your city council and they'll give you the tools. They'll give you what to say, everything. You see, speak at council meetings, everything. Here's upcoming ones, example speeches. They have them there. And recent victories, cameras deactivated, contracts canceled. This can be done with a unity. And the best part here is that we have the normies joining our fight. This is a tool that DHS is using against us, and normies are helping us expose and shut it down, and that is wonderful. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you is that there is this guy. I'm going to copy it here for you. I'm sorry, Rumble, that I don't know why the comments are not connected. But this one is the example of if you want to do a FOIA request to your city council. This guy wrote an amazing FOIA, but under their local statute. And I put in there because it's so well written. You should just take a look at it, and how he's just asking for the contracts. He's just asking for all the relevant information he needs in order to prepare his next speech at the city council. This is activism 101, and it's just, it's a really beautiful thing, because people are waking up to the obliteration of their Fourth Amendment and privacy rights, which is exactly what pertains to us. Speaking of privacy, it's not just Flock and Palantir that are obliterating your privacy. We also have some things as innocuous as Walmart. They are spying on you. And this is a new lawsuit that was filed against them. Walmart got sued for secretly recording customer voice prints when they called the customer service. And this is bigger than just a lawsuit. They are being sued for biometric data collection in 3 different ways. Voice prints of customers when they call during service calls, warehouse worker voice prints collected via headsets to track inventory and monitor workers, and get a load of this, facial recognition cameras in stores. So when you go into Walmart, they are doing your biometric without asking for your permission. They are getting your biometric, your facial recognition. And so this is a lawsuit that it's happening. It's not a federal lawsuit, it's a state lawsuit. But they allege that it's not just Walmart doing it. McDonald's, Applebee's, Chipotle, Domino's, Wingstop, Red Lobster, and others have been sued for capturing customer voice prints when people called to place orders. You call to order on pizza, they built in a voice profile. And for those of us that study, V2K, as you know, all they need to do is take a sample of your voice and then with AI recreate any message with your voice. This is very dangerous. And Verizon enrolled customers in Voice ID during service calls without telling them. So your voice prints is not a password. You cannot change it. If Walmart's database gets breached and company databases do too, your voice is permanently compromised. Every future voice authentication system you use now is at risk. It is only illegal in Illinois. Okay? The BIPA is the only U.S. biometric law that lets individuals sue. Only in Illinois. In 47 other states, companies can collect your voice print, face scan, or fingerprints without legal consequence. So the Just Call customer service pipeline has been a biometric data collection pipeline for years. And I know this also happens in Puerto Rico because I know of a mall where that is happening. And so they purchase the data from Facebook and they match everything. Now, and I'm going to just make a little legal thing here. It's convenience. When you put your fingerprint in your phone to open it or your facial recognition, well, what that does is that you don't have to put a passcode. Anybody can force you to put your finger on your face to open your phone. And so I don't recommend you do that. I recommend you go with a normal passcode, because if you have to open your phone, then that they would have to get a warrant for that. But that's for another day. I'm just saying, I don't recommend, even out of convenience, I don't recommend that you do the fingerprint on your computer or your phone or your facial recognition, because it's just not a good thing for you. Anyways, FBI walls, they're crumbling down in such a beautiful, beautiful, gorgeous way. Now, let me remind you that because I have previously talked about this case here, this is a Seth Rich case. And for those of you that don't know who Seth Rich is, he worked for the DNC, Democratic Committee, and he was a Bernie Sanders supporter. And he was really upset that Hillary stole the primary from him. And so it is said that Seth Rich was the one that gave to WikiLeaks and Julian Assange that's the story, prevailing story, the information from the computers at the DNC. So that it wasn't Russia, that it was him. And so he was murdered. Supposedly he was mugged, but nobody took his watch or his wallet, but they shot him. Yeah. So this attorney has been for 10 years fighting a FOIA lawsuit in the Northern District of Texas to get the image of Seth Rich's computer. And an attorney for the government confirmed to him that several hundred pages of documents related to Seth Rich were found, and this is what matters to us, in a previously hidden room at the FBI headquarters. It was supposedly a SCIF unmapped and sealed within the Edgar Hoover building. And then Fox also had reported on the burn bags that contained thousands of pages of classified files intended for destruction. And those files were linked back to Crossfire Hurricane investigation and, my opinion, to the targeting program. Of course, we haven't gotten there yet. But the moment this is exposed in the Seth, it's like I'm saying, remember, the fact that they gave Carter Page their 4 bogus FISA warrants opened the door for us to demand to see our bogus FISA warrants. The moment they exposed Christine Crowder's nomination form at the TSDB for handling Code 3, that opened the doors for us to get ours. So it's the same with this case. Whatever gets exposed, it seems that the Seth Rich records were designated for exposure. And I have to remind you also, for those of you that don't know, this case is very important because in this case, this attorney filed a motion for contempt against Michael Seidel, who was the director of the FOIA office at the FBI, who magically disappeared out of the horizon. Why? Because he intentionally withheld from your Privacy Act request and from mine and from all of us information, and he trained his minions to do the same. Well, the guy is no longer working there, but this attorney was the one that accomplished that success of getting rid of Michael Seidel because he didn't want to face the contempt. Anyways, the good thing also is that Tim Burchett has also gone into the dialogue, and he's saying he wrote a letter to Mr. Patel demanding that the Seth Rich documents be made public. So this is, he's one of my favorites, along with Eli Crane. He is doing what needs to get done. So this is very good news because, again, it demonstrates the criminality, the FBI criminality, which is popping up everywhere. Okay, it's really important, particularly because, as you know, we're going to be filing, we've been filing Privacy Act request, and the FBI criminals continue to deny the information, only look in the central record systems that only constitutes 35% of the entire records in the FBI. And the Privacy Act says that they have to look in all agency files. It doesn't give them the prerogative of deciding where they look, in what drawer they're going to look. So this is great news for us. And I'm just really happy for Attorney Clevenger because he has been a honey badger. Anyways, now the 25th anniversary of the 9/11 is coming up, and it's become very interesting. The narrative that is, excuse me, I'm having to sit here. I have to move, and I'm not very comfortable here, so I have to stretch my leg. there's an architect who has, I don't know, 35 years experience, and he is debunking the official narrative that Dr. Judy Wood tried to debunk back in, I think her lawsuits were in 2002. She had 2 lawsuits and they got dismissed, and they even imposed sanctions on her, even though she was telling the truth that it's not possible that these towers came down. Now we know, number one, that the Epstein files are missing 25,000 documents from 1999 to 2001, which tells you that those criminals, friends of Epstein, they knew about the false flag of 9/11. Now, this architect, he is doing a revisionism of the history, but he's bringing the receipts. He's saying it's not possible that these buildings were not imploded. It's just not possible. So more of that shall be revealed. And I look forward to that. We should all look forward to that, because here's the thing. 9/11 was a false flag to create the Patriot Act and to create this program and to create the Stasi police state and to create FISA 702 and everything, and even to the day-to-day of the flock cameras. The moment the 9/11 narrative vanishes, everything around it falls apart. And that is a win. That is why we are in an amazing historic moment, because all the false flags and false narratives are falling apart. Okay, so we have to rejoice at this. It's taken time, but it's happening. It's really happening. Now, going back to the lawsuit, Bayer versus CDC, the press release was published in, I don't know how many hundreds of publications. We lost count. And so we have 7 courageous plaintiffs in targeted justice. And for those of you that continue writing to me, I want to be part of the lawsuit. No, you understand, this is not for damages. This is a lawsuit demanding that the CDC issue diagnostic guidance so that people anywhere in the United States can get diagnosed for anomalous health incidents or Havana syndrome. Please stop asking the same question to Dr. Baer, to the Lighthouse, or to me, because sometimes I'm like thinking, I know I speak good English, I know I made myself clear. Why are they insisting on the same thing? And I don't want to think that's only reply to that. Anyways, so the process, how it goes now, I already served it through certified mail on the defendants, and now they have 60 days to reply. So it might be a little while before we get. But what my plea to you is that you share the publications, you call them up, and you say, please cover this. This is important. That they cover the press release, not just publish it, but cover the news. And they can reach out to Dr. Baer. It is very important that people are aware of the existence of this lawsuit, because it pertains to many people in the United States, as Dr. Giordano has admitted. Directed energy weapons attacks are happening. And this lawsuit does not seek attribution, like what is causing it. It does not seek causation, what is causing it, or attribution, who is doing it. No, it only seeks to make available diagnostic criteria to every physician in the United States. Okay, it's under the Administrative Procedure Act, and the plaintiffs in this case are not going to earn a penny. They're not even asking for it. All they want is to form part of the NIH research and treatments, experimental treatments that might be created for the government employees, to have parity, to have the same opportunities as what the government employees have. So please, if you haven't read it, you can read it in targetedjustice.com. We have a copy of it there. I urge you all to be very well acquainted with it. Remember, information is power. The moment you start reading documented, proven things, that's why, as an attorney, we have to ask for evidence. We have to ask for where does that come from? Does that come from a peer review? Like many of you like to listen to videos and stuff of people that either don't have the education, the experience, or are not based on peer review documentation and studies and investigations. So you have to be very jealous with what you let into your mind, to your brain, because you have to screen the bad information from the accurate information. That's just what I do, and I urge you to do the same. Anyways, if you have not sent your Privacy Act request, I don't know how many more times to urge you to do it. As you know, everybody in the United States and the people in the 27 countries of Europe can file a Privacy Act request, not only to examine the files that the agencies has on you, but also to demand that they correct it. In the case of the FBI, for example, you are demanding, and you can copy the example in the Targeted Justice website, or you can hire Jill TJ at Proton.me. She's a professional editor, and she's been dealing with these criminals, so she knows their tactics. Well, you also have the right given to you by the Privacy Act to demand correction of inaccurate or erroneous information that the agency has about you. What this means is, if the criminals at the FBI have illegally placed you as a terrorist, you have the right to demand to be removed from it. Of course, they're not going to voluntarily answer. Of course, we're going to have to judicially force them to answer. But if you haven't filed your Privacy Act request, then you are at a loss. I don't know how else to say that. I think that was accurate enough. Anyways, tomorrow I hadn't held a monthly meeting in a long while because the first meeting, a lot of people came, and then it started dwindling until it was only 3 of us. And quite honestly, I have a lot of activism to do. For example, I want to have MK Ultra Never Ended banners in front of Congress every day if I could. But for that, I need a team, and I need you to show up. And I know, because of Targeted Justice statistics, that there are tons of TIs in the DMV area. So I really urge you to show up tomorrow at 1 p.m. in the Georgetown Neighborhood Library. You can look up the address in the Targeted Justice website. And I'm going to bring some flyers for you to, you can take and copy. And it's going to be at 1 p.m. I really, really urge those of you that are willing to help me do what needs to be done. We really need to do the banners. We really need to, hit Congress. And I knock on their doors by myself, but it would be great if I had a team that we could, tackle the 7 buildings, because it's 7 buildings and over 600 offices. So, and then when you're being microwaved, it's a little tough. I still do it, but I'd very much appreciate if I had committed people that are going to commit. They're not going to just like disappear within, no, that you're going to commit to help me, because we can make a huge difference just with a huge banner in front of Congress every day for a week. That would be great. I look forward to be able to do that. Okay. And then, as you know, where 2 or more or 3 are gathered together in my name, said Jesus, there I am in the midst of them. And I am telling you this because we're still doing the intention time, only 5 minutes at 12 Eastern time. Set your alarm at 11:57, get comfortable, and just dedicate 5 minutes to praying or to meditating the targeting program is over. I am now free. Because if we have hundreds of people across the globe at that same time, you better believe that that's going to be a force to be reckoned with. And anyways, thank you everybody for being here today. I look forward to having you next week. Thank you for supporting this mission for freedom, which is for all of us, for everybody's freedom. As you know, I am not stopping until the last one, even my beloved Helen in Australia, Juan, everybody, my dear Craig in Australia, everybody, Javier in Argentina, Harold in Germany, Melanie in Brussels, everybody is free. But we need you to continue being digital warriors and to continue writing to Congress, because that therein lies the key to, at least if they can shut down the budget for the criminals in the Denver domestic operations, that's a huge win. After all, it's an illegal operation. They shouldn't even exist. Anyways, thank you, Jim. I want to, also you can have Jim reminds everybody on X at noon, a little bit before noon, of the intention time. So you can follow at Real Coffee Jim and then just get all his notifications. Although now we know that X is screening them, filtering them. I'm going to check a little bit your questions here. I hope everybody understood the importance of the Privacy Act request and you can send to prison for full pretenses. Too dangerous if you're not important. I don't know what you're talking about here, but my experience has been that if you walk straight in a straight line and you don't do things that compromise you, they cannot entrap you. They can only entrap you if you allow them. And I know this because back in Puerto Rico, the criminals tried to entrap me hundreds of times, and they couldn't, because God was always guiding my path. That's why every time you leave your house, you have to just say, like I say in Spanish, God is with me and no weapon shall prosper against me. So I don't accept negativity. I'm sorry, this is my realm here. I don't accept negativity, and I don't accept, if they were so almighty and all powerful, I wouldn't be here. Target justice wouldn't exist. That's how it is. They're not that almighty. They're idiots. They're stupid. And the only reason they've been able to do so much harm is because they have the gadgets and they have the power of the federal government. But do not relinquish your power. Do not relinquish the power of the Holy Spirit that you have inside of you. Anyways, I think that there's no questions in here. So I hope that you join me next week, because as you know, I prepare this space with tons of love and dedication to bring you the best of me. So good night and blessings to all of you.